working with PDF files, you can open them up in Acrobat, which is either comes in the flavor of Acrobat Pro or Standard, or you can open it up in the free version Adobe Reader or in a web browser. And once you open up those files, then you can take advantage of different features and tools to view or display those files so that you can work with them more effectively. So let's get started by exploring the different types of Acrobat tools that are related, and then jump right into those ways to view them. Now here on the Adobe website, there you can actually do a search for product comparison for Acrobat, and you can see that Acrobat is a family of products, and there's even some other tools that come with it as helper tools. But when you purchase Acrobat, you're either getting Acrobat X Standard or Acrobat X Pro, and Pro extends some of the features beyond Standard that lets you do things like work with forms more effectively and portfolios and such, and so this can give you a list. But there's also the free version of Adobe Reader, which a lot of people are downloading so that you can view and search and print information as well. Now once you have those files opened, of course, then you can take advantage of different view features. And what we're exploring here, you'll see that you can actually work with in either the Reader format or one of those purchased Acrobat products. Let's go back here and open up Acrobat Pro. And when we get started, we actually have what's called the welcome screen, and these are different ways to open up files, either recent files or you can browse to a file, clicking on open, and it's going to take me to where I was last, and I have a set of files in here, and I could open up a file if I wanted to work on it, and it opens up for me. I also have an option, the file open, which we might be more familiar with if we're using other products, and so I could open a file, Control O, and then also I have a tool button that allows me to open a file, same options. One other thing you should be aware of is that if you're actually inside a folder and you're navigating through your Windows environment, or perhaps you're in a Mac file but you're navigating through, and I'm going to right click on this file, and when I right click I have options for opening, and you'll notice that there's one in here that's a bold, open with Adobe Reader versus open with Acrobat, and that means on this system Adobe Reader has been set as the default, go over here to open with, and that's something you can control for your actual Windows system. But that would simply mean if I didn't right click but I simply were to double click on this file, it would open up with whatever is bold, in this case Reader and Acrobat. It's good to be aware of that because you often will have both products installed on your system, and knowing which is which will help because some of those tools are going to be different. So here I am inside of my file. I'm in Acrobat Pro, and there are different ways that I can view this information. And noticing that it first launched out at 105, and that's pretty big. Even if I were to collapse these, it's pretty big. And so I can make some changes by simply changing the magnification or the zoom level in here. At 10%, that'll let me see lots of files, but that may be a little too small, and I could go up to 64%. I'm not sure if that's going to help me out here, but if I were working with something with a billboard, I can actually start seeing some of the pixel dimensions, and it gives me more clarity. I'm not sure if you can see it completely on the screen, but that could be handy if I was doing work with more artwork in here. However, some of the more common ones would be something like 100, 125, and then down below you actually have some features like actual size, this would be 100%, or fit width, and lets you, it's nice for being able to read it. And one of my favorites here is fit visible. It lets you see that information. You can zoom to page level as well. I really like this one too because I can easily see a quick page. And then of course we have some buttons for zooming, and if you hover you'll notice that there's also keyboard shortcuts. So the Control plus minus and the Control and the plus key, or the Control, not little plus there, tells you those are keyboard shortcuts for changing your zoom. In fact, let me go ahead and try that. Here's my Control minus a few times. Here's my Control plus. And so it's this equivalent of actually clicking on those tools. Another handy thing, and that works in other Adobe products as well. So if you work with a tool like InDesign or Photoshop, you can use those features. But again, we have some options in here that we can use to quickly jump. We can also right-click on this tool, and we'll go to Select and Zoom, and you can even add some other tools to the mix. I'm going to go ahead and show all of them so I can see all the different tools that are available. And let's start here with a couple tools that were from the very beginning. This has to do with Fit to Window, Enable Scrolling, and fit one full page window. And you can notice by the icon there's a symbol in here. It looks like there's 2 pages. And as I scroll through, I can actually see the bottom of one page and the top of the other. You can see how it's scrolling through, and as I'm actually using my scroll bar here, I can scroll as well. However, when I click on the full one page, I see one page at a time, and as I scroll, I'm getting this thumbnail here, I can jump one page at a time. What I'm not able to do is actually see the bottom of one page and the top of the other with this particular setting here. So it's letting me see one page at a time. Now if I were to click on this option here, which gives me a continuous scroll, and then I change my zoom to page level, as I'm scrolling through, I'm actually able to see the bottom of one page and the top because it's using a continuous scroll. Let's take a closer look here in the View menu, and we'll go to View menu to Page Display. And what you're actually seeing is an option called Enable Scrolling versus Single Page View. And so this is a feature that you can turn on, and these 2 buttons give you a quick access for changing them. I could also set up to be a 2-page view or 2-page continuous scrolling. I'll go ahead and click on 2-page view. And this would be handy if my document was a booklet like this, and I could actually scroll through and see 2 pages at a time. Now this booklet is actually set up so the cover page should be on the right side. So if I go back here to Page Display, I can change this to Show Cover Page in 2-page view, and this would give me a better idea of what it would look like if I were printing this out. And so I could see my left and right pages more accurately, like an actual booklet electronically displayed. Now a couple other options I can do with my view besides using my options for page navigation and display is I can also do some options here with my options for show hide, and I do have some features for working with rulers and guides and grids. So if this is helpful, if I had a document where I wanted to display this information, I could turn on the grid feature, or I could actually turn on my rulers, and you'll notice that there are some keyboard shortcuts to turn those on and off as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Control R and Control U to turn those features off. Now let me close this file, and it didn't even prompt me to save it. I'm going to use here my Open Recent, and that was the file, the handbook file. Actually no, it was the employee benefits. Go ahead and open that up, and you can notice that it comes back to the same views. So those views are actually stored inside of the file. And if I head over to Edit and then go down to Preferences, one of the things that you can do is you can customize how you're going to view different files. So here in the feature called Page Display, and right now it says Page Layout is automatic, and that means that the file is going to carry over its own page settings that are built into that file, and then when it's displayed, it's going to display as the page was set up. However, I can actually customize this if I wanted to always use single page continuous, and I wanted to always use, for example, my fit page, and then I can click on OK, and watch what happens when I close this file and I go ahead and reopen it. And you can see how it opens up in this view. In fact, it's actually going to be the same if I opened up other files, because I set this up as my default view. So again, that was in my Edit Preferences, and I can also return it back to automatic and automatic. So I have some options in there for how I want to display that information. I'll go ahead and click on OK. And let's take a closer look here at Reader. When I'm in Reader, it's a very similar looking product. It has many of the same features. I'm going to go ahead and open up my file, and I've got a lot of the same features in here. And again, I can also view it. So I have my options for fit window or scrolling. So again, taking advantage of those same features. I could even come here to Edit Preferences and customize my preferences for how I might display an option inside of Reader. Now, both in Reader and in Acrobat, the standalone product, you also have the option of this read mode. This is actually a new feature in here. Here's View File and Read Mode. There's a symbol right here that lets you access that. And when you use the read mode, you can see how some of those tools actually move away, and if I move my mouse down to the bottom, I get some extra tools for navigating through, for saving, for navigating to different pages, for zooming, and then I can even escape out of the read mode. Incidentally, you can also press the escape key, and that will escape you out of the read mode. Now the read mode can also be accessed through the view menu here, view read mode, or you can see Control H would allow you to access it. And then of course there's the full screen mode. So let me go ahead and click on read mode again. You can see some of the elements here at the top that are available, and again that bottom I'm going to escape. And then let's compare that with full screen mode. And with full screen mode, it's definitely a more stark option, and we have some options for exploring or for scrolling through the files, and we can press escape to get out of that full screen mode. Now finally, let's take a closer look at some files online. I'm going here because this website has a lot of PDF files in it, and if I were to click on a form right here, it actually opens up, and you give it a moment here, it's launching a PDF file in the browser, and this is really common. A lot of times you're going to see different PDF files and they open up in the browser, and you have different settings in here, and the file might be set up to open up in a read mode, so it's possible that when you first launch it, it looks something like this where you don't even see the tools. And so you should be aware that you can press escape, or if you move down the bottom you have the option of going back and showing the different toolbars. And then when you show the toolbars, you could actually then save that file and be able to work up with it or look at it through the reader version if you wanted to. So it definitely gives you some other options as well. And again, when you're working with either it's Acrobat Pro or perhaps Standard or Reader or even with the browser, what you have are different tools for opening up that file and then viewing that file so that you're able to work with it more effectively.